Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for making this good participation. We're starting the proceedings in the newcomers. We'll have to suffer a lot of time. All registered teams are in. So I've requested Mrs. Lakshmi to do the honors to light the lamp of knowledge, lamp of which will dispel our darkness, as told us at one of our I realize that food is not good. I've been Hyderabad has not been good to me. Thank you, Mani. Thanks for listening. So this year is in the memory of Sri S. Babu, my father. This is my uncle, my father's youngest brother, Sri Rayanu, who's also participating. So, this is all. These are my parents, Sri Babu and Lakshmi. I mean, Sri Lakshmi, I'm sorry. And this is about father. He was born in Yelamaru village of Krishna district. He was educated as a civil engineer from College of Engineering, Kakinada. He served in the Indian Railways. He retired as General Manager Southern Railway in '93. He was a fellow of the Institution of Engineers. He was elected as a fellow. He was passionate about scholarship and learning. He was an avid reader, problem solver, and collector of a vast array of books. That is his degree certificate from Kakinada. He graduated at the age of 19. So that is the 75th get together, 75th and 50th anniversary get together of the batch. This is his initial membership into the Institution of Engineers. This is his fellow certificate. And that's a few photographs of father on the top. You can see inspecting Saraigat Bridge there, which was converted from medium to double gauge, thereby enabling broad gauge connectivity to all the northern states. That's at the Konkan Railway and few other assorted pictures of him in action. So this is a certificate given to him by Institution of Engineers. Opportunity for these things happen, and hopefully it happens more often. Mitali, my then fiancée, now wife, who's been my constant benefit for the quiz. So, of all the quizzes that you see, I think she's, of all the questions that you see here today, I think she's suffered through 2 weeks of this as I was setting this. My friend Aditya, who's been at the side, has given a lot of inputs which have helped me shape and hopefully you might enjoy to this set. And finally, everybody who's turned up, all friends at Play Circle, thank you so much for the time. And that, I'm just going to check on the aspect ratio, but as we get started, yeah. I have a question. This is a purely audience question. It's not going to affect your scores. So, whoever wishes to answer, please lift your hand up quickly, fast. The question about this, the person in whose honor in India, or rather one of the most honored engineers in India, Sir Vishwesharaya Garu, has been associated with a particular monument, let's say, for lack of any other word. Hyderabad's first stone arched market was designed by, you're ready? I think, can we take something away from him like this? Yep. Sorry, sir. I'll give you the next clue. It derives its name from the fact that it prominently uses stone in its construction. Patagati is also here. Points. So Patagati is also a Patagati. Everything else had Patagati. Rama is qualified from. All case circles are disqualified from answering audience questions under audience ways. So, please come, sir, madam. So, so this is the answer for Patagati, designed by Sir Vishweshwar Garu. Just please open page 1, मैम. अभी तो रात के ना page 1 का फोटो लेंगे. ये जो sponsor किया है ना, तो अपना नाम लिखना है. Thank you. Okay, ma'am. It's on here. Awesome. So, rules for today's prelims. We'll have answer sheets. There are 25 questions in the prelims. Every question carries a point each. So disregard the last point on page 2, but every question just carries a point. 16 to 25 will be star mark. So you will notice the gradient of questions keeps going up, and around question 16 is when the difficulty goes up a bit. The intention is these will be used to resolve ties in case two teams are at the same score. In case anything from question 16 to 25 carries multiple answers, you will get awarded 0.5 in case there are two answers, but for that question to be treated as a star, we will need both parts. Top 8 teams will make it to the finals, and we have a lot of areas to traverse, lot of points at stake between the prelims and the finals. Give or take, will be 80-85 questions. I try to make the topics exclusive, so it's a rare thing. Questions will belong to the same topic. So please feel free to take guesses. Try to not give back any answers blank. In all likelihood, your gut feeling, that one guess will be the right answer. And we have some prizes to give away. We will give away points to the best wrong answers as well. Is likely to go for a verification of doubts or anything. And the most important rule, a lot of folks who I see have been quizzing for a while, but there are a lot of newbies as well. Please enjoy. The objective is not to just compete. The objective is not to show that I know more than the person sitting next to me. The objective is on a Saturday afternoon, we could all be doing a lot of better things in life. You are just to be here, might as well have fun. Please have fun. Alright? On that note, let's get started. So this is a shoot from Gold Arabia, where Rekha is seen wearing a dress which had its origin in the sartorial choices made by Empress Nurjahan and was popular during Nizam era Hyderabad. It is named after its peculiar vertical draping, and it helps that the pose that Rekha is doing accentuates the dress. And you will find this dress being worn by Hyderabadi Muslim brides. It's very popular. What is this dress called? दोनों लाइट्स यहाँ पे डिम कर दीजिए, वो वाला और वो वाला. First question coming in from Hyderabad is a dress which was supposedly made by Noor Jahan, very popular among noble ladies of Nizam era Hyderabad, and it is named because of its peculiar vertical draping, which you also see here, and it is accentuated further by the way Rekha is posing.
Moving on to question 2. One of the symptoms of scarlet fever in children is a swollen tongue that appears red and bumpy. Now, because it resembles something else, doctors and medical practitioners sometimes refer to this condition by a different name. So, look at the appearance of this symptom of scarlet fever in young children. What is this symptom called by medical practitioners? In a very colloquial way. It's not a very scientific medical term that we're looking for. Think of what this could resemble from everyday life. So I'm the quizmaster, so I'll ask the questions. Okay. So you figure out what your answer is. Yeah. Over. But question 3. The original format in Japan used the moniker Tigers. The first international version used dragons. If the German and Finnish versions used lions, what was the fierce moniker that was first used in Israel, made most popular in the US, but now it's very popular in India as well, at least the last 2.5 odd years. So think of a ferocious term, originally tigers, then in the UK they called dragons, Germany and Finland they prefer lions, extremely popular in Indian pop culture over the last 2 odd years. It caught public imagination. So, what is this term? It is a fierce moniker. If you get a sense of what kind of creatures are used in various parts of the world, think of something that might have become popular in India over the last 2 years. The next question. A larger image wouldn't help you. It's just a representative. But a US-based photographer, Armstrong Roberts, he happened to click a photo of 6 passengers against a 4-time-motor plane, and is considered to be the first photo of its kind. In clicking this photo, he happened to get the idea, which led to an entire genre of photography which is now fairly popular. Although I would say over the last 6 odd months, technological developments have put this genre of photography at risk. And this genre of photography became very popular because around this time, publications had started to use photos instead of drawings. So what genre of photography did Armstrong Roberts pioneer? This was the first of its kind. It was 6 ordinary passengers, so there's nothing peculiar about the folks that he did. He just happened to click the photo, which led to the creation of a genre of photography. I mean, the people, the setting will not help. It's the photo is just for you to gauge what this photo looks like. But it's not like there is some famous person standing there or something. But what I did add is technological developments for the last 6-8 months have put this genre of photography in place. Yeah, we'll go through all the questions. Have put almost an existential risk to the genre of New York. Question 5 is from up north in India. So there is a temple in Hyderabad which features these twin goddesses. Both of their names are synonyms for somebody who gives bliss. And they are considered the presiding goddesses of Garhwal and Kumaon. Which geographical feature gets its name from these twin deities? Think of the location, think of the fact that a very famous geographical feature could get a name from deities. A lesser known fact is there are actually twin deities. Most of us would not think of them as twin deities. And they are bliss giving goddesses. So if you just even translate it, it will help. If you just translate the name of bliss giving goddesses, so geographical feature, yeah, so I don't want mountain. It will be a particular mountain. It will be a lake, a very specific lake. It will not be a kind of a lake. No, I'm just giving an illustration. He asked, is it a type? Like, am I asking hill gets its name because these mountains are, these deities are called hill deities? No, they are named something specific. So the hill will have a name. It will be the same. So if you're thinking anything different, your answer is probably wrong. Just translate this. Question 6 is from a movie in 1944. So the soundtrack of this movie featured 7 songs, 6 of which were written by Shailendra Roy. The 7th song credited a different lyricist and of course was a different song. What was the 7th song? I'm not looking for the lyricist. What was the 7th song in the Bengali film Uday Pathe, made into Hindi as Hamrahi in 1945? Look at the timeline, look at the kind of people who have been involved in this project. To think a song which should not have been written by Shailendra Roy and somebody else. Looking for the title of this song. Next, from 1994, this is a UK-based brewery called Stroh. Question 8 is from the world of business and tech. Dave McClure is a Silicon Valley investor, legendary investor, who recommended that technological companies should measure these 5 user behavior metrics to ensure the health of the business is intact. The first is acquisition, the second is activation, the third is retention, fourth is referral, and fifth is revenue. Acquisition is how many people are you gaining in your business. Activation is how many people are actually using your product. Retention is how many people stay for a time of, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a quarter, depending on your business. How many people are referring to new customers and how much money are you making? Now these metrics are collectively called something due to a general exclamation associated with an occupation which has little to no historical association. However, the reason why you and I would relate to what these metrics are collectively called is because an English actor called Robert Newton. He happened to act in a film and he chose to include something that was practiced in his native. I think it was Surrey in England. So, because of that, we will all associate a exclamation with an occupation that gives its way to these metrics. So, what are these metrics collectively called? The exclamation. It could be the occupation, sorry. Yeah. The occupation. So you can either think of what kind of an occupation was portrayed on screen by Robert Newton in 1950, which is the harder and less fun way to go about it. The easier way is to just stare at the side and the answer stares back at you. Question 9 is a series of three chemical reactions. Over the last 140 odd years, because of air pollution, humidity, etc., these have led to the signature color of a global landmark. So, which global landmark gets its signature color because of these reactions? So, first you have a compound which results in a pink or red residue, then it results in a black residue, and then depending on the humidity, air pollution, etc., it could result in a green or a blue residue. So, these are sequential reactions. First, you have a pink residue followed by a black residue, and then either a green or blue residue. Think of a global landmark which has a very signature tinge, and the timeline will help. It's roughly 140 years of that landmark. I'm sure for a lot of people it would come as a surprise that it is not the intended color of the landmark. So when the landmark was installed, it was in a very different color, different shade. But because of these reactions is why you would think of it to be a particular color now. Question 10 is from Germany. So the last elections in Germany happened in 2021, and these three parties announced that they had reached a deal to implement a coalition government. And Olaf Scholz was the chancellor of this coalition. So first is the Social Democratic Party, the second is the Free Democratic Party, and the third is Alliance 90. You don't need to know much about European politics to guess. What is the nickname that this three-party coalition is called? So three parties reached a deal to form a coalition government, and there is a nickname by which this coalition is called. You don't need to know anything about European politics to crack this. Useful hint is to again stare at the question and the answer stays right back. On to question 11. So Berlin has a very famous fountain of four rivers in Rome, which includes the four major rivers on which Christianity had spread by that time. This is the Nile River, which is represented by this demigod whose head is draped by a loose cloth. So Berlin purposefully decided to make this sculpture such that the face was not visible. Why did he make this design choice? So the little descriptive answer, maybe 3-4 words. This is roughly a 450-year-old sculpture. Timeline will help at least to get an idea of why he would make such a design choice. 450 odd years. The stellar piece of architecture and design. It has four rivers. There is Rio Plata from Argentina. There is Ganga from India. There is Danube from Europe, and there is Nile. Because these were the four continents on which Christianity had spread back then. Each of them have been given a defining representation. The Nile has been given a representation in which the face is not visible. The answer will not be very technical. Think simple, think easy. Moving to question 12. Which Japanese automobile manufacturer uses the number 23 for its vehicles in whatever category of events that they participate in, and it is because of a linguistic connect, because of a language-based connect. So if any of you practice any martial art now or are into anime or manga, or even if you know your Japanese numbers, it will help. Or if there are school kids who go to their karate classes. And just a fun trivia is, beyond basketball, Michael Jordan has decided to take dealership for this auto brand in North Carolina because he was the most famous number 23 from that region. So that's just an add-on. But give me a Japanese automobile brand which uses the number 23 for its vehicles in any form of racing events. Number 13. So most of us would be familiar with an alternative to the Leah chart. The Leah chart is predominantly used for young children. It is occasionally also used for those with learning disabilities. It includes four symbols that you see here, which is an apple, a home, a window, and a rail. This chart is used as an alternative to which prevalent mechanism for adults? Yeah. So what is the Leah chart a kid's alternative of? And just going by the audience, I have a conviction that at least 75% of us have seen the alternative once in our life. So what is the Leah chart an alternative to? 14th. Shogun is a new TV show, excellent show if I recall, but it's based on a 1975 novel of the same name by an author James Carroll. And the loose plot of the movie, of the show is there's an Englishman named John Blackthorne who ends up shipwrecked in 16th century Japan. He ends up in service of one of the local warlords and helps him become the shogun of Japan. Now, what I thought was very clever is the first episode of this show is titled Anjin, Angin, which is both a reference to what James Carroll made John Blackthorne do in the novel and the TV show, as well as the fact that it was the first episode of the series. So, what does Anjin mean in Japanese? No. Anjin is a Japanese word. So think of, you do not need to know Japanese to answer this. You just need to think of why would Anjan be the fitting title for the first episode of a TV show. I, you don't need that. It's just me plugging in a show that I'm really liking. Probably the closest successor to Game of Thrones in a while. Excellent writing. It's streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar. I just think the show is streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar. That's the only thing. I know, but that's question 14. Either tell me what does Anjin mean. It has to be a profession of John Blackthorne or a fitting title for the first episode of a TV show. 15th, last of the non-starred ones. The flower that you're seeing is Erismon. There are about 180 species of this genus, which all belong to the mustard family. They tend to grow much better in loose and dry soil, which is why they have a colloquial name. We would probably know of their colloquial name because of a young adult novel or its more famous movie adaptation. I think it was 2005 or 6, but I could be mistaken. But what are they called? So because of the fact that they grow better in loose dry soil, they get a very peculiar name, which we would know because it was the title of a young adult book and eventually a more popular movie adaptation. I think the movie is 2005, which the book would be about 5-7 years older. It is a part of the title. One way to think is if this plant grows better in water, it would be called water mustard. The answer has to be something along those lines. So this is the last of the non-star ones. We'll give you about 30 seconds to focus on this, and there's an audience question, and then we'll move to the star questions.
That's a giveaway. That's all right. When you're ready, going on the similar Japan theme, this is an audience question, no marks, only a book. And case settlers give others a chance. This musical instrument is from Japan. It's called a shamisen, meaning 3 strings. So, what prized material from India is used in its body and neck, and which right, perfect. On the dot, red sandals, and the name is Pushpa. He did not even allow me to continue on to the part of the question about the movie. One book there, and we'll do the photograph afterwards. Okay, this is a question about railways. Introduced in 2009, which line of trains is named after the Bengali word for restlessness? Yes, Duranto is too easy. And the follow-up, whose paintings are there on the train? Mamta Banerjee. So I think 2 books out. Thank you. Back to the set grind. No more bites back.
All right. So from here, the questions will get slightly difficult. These are star questions. Several of them have multiple parts, so please ensure you have both the parts covered. This should be question 16. Neuroscientists have been studying about how does the brain work for a very long time. But what they struggle with is the idea that all the faculties of the brain, how are they integrating to create what we think of as the mind or itself? And neuroscientists call it the binding problem. In his book, The Undiscovered Mind, John Horgan proposed a nicer name to the binding problem because he felt that it was very easy for neuroscientists to break the brain or break the mind into pieces, but they were not able to put these pieces back again. Yeah, this should be 16. Please pardon the numbering. This should be question 16. Neuroscientists have struggled with the binding problem, which is putting together how does the brain process all parts of its faculty into a single output. It's not one word. It could probably be longer, but I don't want to give anything away. Think of your best guess and come up with this. Most of us would have done something with this answer way back. I don't see many young folks now, but most of us have had something to do with the answer long time when we were growing up. When we were growing up, something that you might have encountered is what John Horgan decided to name this problem. Think of the fact that it is very easy for scientists to break apart the brain, but very hard to put it together. This is 16. Yeah, I got the number now. 16. 17th is from the world of tech, but actually from the world of geography. At the launch of the MacBook Air, Steve Jobs pulled out the device from a stationary material which is named after a Southeast Asian capital. He had a flair for theatrics, so he decided to carry around this piece of stationery and he charmed the audience by pulling out the MacBook Air from inside of this stationery item. I don't know what this stationery item is. What plant gives its name to this piece of stationery? It's a plant that grew abundantly in this city. It will not be similar, but the name of the city is derived from a plant. I want the plant name. Derived from a plant's name. So, before jumping the gun, please read the questions once. Which city was this? After which plant was this? After which you get the name of the city. I want the name of the plant. I'll accept Hindi English answers on this one. Either Hindi or English answer works. Most of you would have seen this piece of stationery in your workplaces or schools or colleges. If you have wondered where it came from the name of a Southeast Asian capital. What I want is, where does the sun located in the Seville Cathedral and it is held aloft by 4 allegorical figures. Now this contents of this tomb have moved around quite a lot. So originally it was in a town called Valladolid in Spain. From there they moved it to Seville. From there it moved to the Dominican Republic. From there it moved to Havana. And then finally it was brought back to the Seville capital. So 2 parts. Whose tomb is this? And the 4 figures which are carrying this tomb, where would you find them together now? There are multiple ways in which you could get the second answer right. If you figure out the first part, the second would sort of logically follow. So where would you find these four figures who carry the tomb together. What is this technique called? Due to the texture of the finely cooked meat. Think of soft and slippery textures that could lend its name to cooked protein. Very popular in Chinese cooking, but I think it holds true for most Asian cuisine. There is a chance that you might have observed a recipe and noticed a particular term being used. Now is the time to put two and two together. There is a chance you might have come across recipes where they said, do this to the meat, and it's a soft and slippery texture. So that's how I discovered it. I was looking for a recipe, and I figured, okay, this is a interesting word. I looked backwards and arrived at this. Think of a soft and slippery texture that is made by meat in cornstarch slurry, which is then passed through either hot oil or water. No, it's the smooth and slippery texture which is leading to dance. 21 is an astronaut, John Grunsfeld. John Grunsfeld visited, or actually was a part of 3 space missions. The third time around, he carried this basketball, which was last used in the game by another student of University of Chicago, when his team defeated Indiana University. And he just thought it would be a nice gesture to carry it to space 100 years later. Now, what is interesting is, by carrying this basketball to space, he ended up tying together the two interests of a alumnus of University of Chicago. And in the previous 2 missions, he carried something which would be more obvious to everybody as to why this person carried an object A and then an object B. But the third time around, he carried a basketball, which is a surprising decision. But what a lot of people don't know is, while we all know of this person for his interest in the field of space, he was equally interested in basketball. So, whose basketball did John Grunsfeld carry to space? Yeah. By doing this, he's basically merged the 2 biggest interests of that person. The name of a person. Yeah. He's actually a prolific sportsman. He's also part of at least one state's Hall of Fame in basketball. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he defeated Indiana University in 1909. Yeah. Whose basketball he's carrying? Yeah. Retd is from the movie the song Here to be specific. Now, when the song released, a lot of people thought the location at which Shah Rukh and Kajol are performing, it was CGI. The answer is not CGI. It is an actual location. This horrible color video. Now, what is interesting is, this location is a part of Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. And the original myth is that there was a Irish giant called Fionn McConville who wanted to settle a fight with another Scottish giant called Benandemir. So he decided to just throw a bunch of these so that he could cross over and beat the hell out of the other guy. Now, the Royal Society has a lot of interest in the geography of this place. So they've written an elaborate blog post. The title of the blog post is a pun on a quote by a very famous 17th century person. So think of what are Shahrukh and Kajol doing at this location, if it helps to given an honorific title by Emperor Aurangzeb after he captured Vishal from the Marathas. Because of this title, he was given the permission to fly two different flags of different sizes. And even now, if you visit Jaipur, Amir, and that region, you will find that the palaces have the same flag in two sizes. So, sorry? Yeah. So, I noticed this in Amir. Now, what honorific title is this that also lends its name to this chai flavored rum that was released some time back? There are notes with regards to the packaging itself. So when in doubt, just read it aloud and think of what was the honorific title given to Raja Jai Singh of Amir. Twenty-fourth is from the world of art. So in 1999, artist Kala Sachs, she installed this 120 brass rabbit sewers near a particular area as a tribute to the bunnies who lived and occupied a space and really thrived without any human contact. So where were these rabbits living until they lost their habitat of 28 years and moved away in 1989? There is a Oscar short film as well about where these bunnies were living, and they really had the time of their life. For 28 years, they were not bothered by any human contact. These are some photos that I took when I visited this place. A lot of them have now been stolen or were harder to spot. But think of 28 years of isolated kingdom for rabbits who lived in a particular area. In your answer, try to be as specific as possible. So don't just give me a country or a city. There will be a landmark that you associate with. Yeah. So the answer will not be, for instance, Agra. It will be Ajmer. That's the nature of answer I'm looking for. Final question before we circle back. Two parts to this. So, but the upcoming Olympics in 2024, one event will not be held in Paris. It will be held 15,000 kilometers away for two reasons. The first is a historical reason because it is located in a region which is considered the birthplace of this sport. To that effect, James Cook first mentioned witnessing locals participating in this sport in 1778. The second reason, probably why from a sporting angle it makes a lot more sense, is that the natural conditions for this sport are best found in this location because it provides the largest opportunities for the sports people to demonstrate their skills. So, two parts. Which sport will be held 15,000 kilometers away from Paris in this Olympics? And second, where is this sport being held? The country will suffice. The country will suffice. So think of a sport that would be played as early as 1778. There are records of it being played at least 500 years before as well. But it was just fitting that they chose to conduct this sport for Olympics 2024 in a region which is considered the birthplace of the sport. But the second reason is because you have the best sports people from around the world gathering, why not give them the biggest and best opportunity to demonstrate their skill? And the geography of this place actually is very conducive for that. If so, you know the venue of Olympics, which is which is that is hint. That is a hint. Plus, any hint for the venue? I said the fact that the Olympics are held in Paris will allow you to work towards which country or which region this is. So from here we'll now go backwards. We spent significant time on the first run. So this is just to help you get your numbering in place and get your answers in case you kind of split between two options. This is your pick. And then we'll collect the answer sheet. So 25th, two-part answer. Which sport, which venue that is 15,000 kilometers away from the host city of Paris? 24. Where do you find these rabbit silhouettes? They lived without any or minimal human contact and had a party of their lifetime for 28 years. 23. Either tell us what the honorific title was for Raja Jai Singh of Amir, or what is the name of this child favorite one? 22. The funny title of a Royal Society blog post about the Giant's Causeway. If it helps, Shah Rukh and Kajol are actually doing this in this song. 21. An alumnus of University of Chicago, last played with this basketball in 1909. By carrying this basketball to space, both his interests were tied together. 20. What happens when you pass meat full of cornstarch slurry into hot oil or water? It gets a soft, smooth, slippery texture. 19. Two people decided to go back to their roots to come up with the title of their song, Peter Peterson and Stephen Schwarzman. 18th is the tomb of a person that's moved around quite a bit. Roots for Peter Peterson and Stephen Schwarzman. For 18, the geography is more helpful than the timeline. Think of all the places that it moved. So Valladolid, Seville, Dominican Republic, Havana, and back to Seville. But more importantly, where do we find these four allegorical figures together even now? Multiple answers possible, but if you get to the first person, it should lead you to the second one relatively easily. Yeah, it's a straight up logical answer. 17th is a piece of stationery that was used for Steve Jobs. What I want is, how does the city that gave its name to the stationery get its name? So your answer will have the name of plant. And if it is helpful, I said I would accept both Hindi and English names in this case. In my opinion, the Hindi answer is more obvious. In this, the Hindi answer is more obvious. No, the plant. Hindi is more obvious. This was 16th. So, what was John Hardin's name for a problem about breaking the mind into pieces that scientists not been able to put it together? The hint that I gave was Most of us have come across this when we were growing up. 16. Yeah, definitely our generation I'm very sure of. I don't know what the new. Yeah, this should be 16. Think of a nicer name to the binding problem, where you can break things easily, but it is hard to put them together. 15th is the name of a plant from the mustard family. Grows far better in loose dry soil. Popularly entered popular functions because of a young adult book or the more famous movie adaptation. Film more than I'm guessing most people know it from the film. 14th episode 1 of Shogun is titled Anjali. Why is it clever? What does Anjali mean in Japanese, or why is it cleverly the title of the first episode? 13th is the Leah chart, is an alternative to which prevalent mechanism for adults. So in case you're struggling with the proper name, I would say just go ahead and write what you think this mechanism is. We'll award points for that as well. 12th, it should be a Japanese auto manufacturer, which really likes the number 23. 11th is from Bernini's Fountain of the Four Rivers. Why does why is the face of the Nile not visible? Tenth is from the last German elections. These three parties formed a coalition. The hint I gave was you don't need to know anything about European politics to get this. What is the nickname for these coalitions? Ninth, a global landmark gets its signature color from this set of reactions. Starts pinkish, becomes blackish, and final residue is green or blue in color. The hint that is in the question is about 140 years since when the landmark has been around. And I had said, for those who came in late, is that we would not think of the fact that the monument was supposed to be in a different color. We've probably always seen it in its signature color. Eighth, what are these five user behavior metrics collectively called, which product-led businesses should track? AARRR. Seventh, in which Hindi film does the lead character talk about the setting up of Stroh's brewery company in India? No, but the timeline is helpful. The timeline is helpful. I'm not giving the year when the movie came in, but it should be helpful. Seventh was this. Sixth, six songs in the movie are written by Shailendra Roy. What was the seventh song? Which was the seventh song? Not who wrote the seventh song. Yeah. Yes, even 1944. Think of the year, think of the kind of people who are making this movie. You will, I mean, it's all chance that you will not land at the right person. Yeah, I don't know the person. If you know the person, there's probably only one answer. Probably just one answer. For the song. Name of the song. Fifth, for the temple in Almora, features twin goddesses, both supposed to be bliss-giving goddesses. Which geographical feature gets its name from these deities? Their name translates to bliss-giving goddesses. Most people don't know that they are twin goddesses. We would typically only think of one of them. Even the geographical feature's name is translates to this. It is named as this. Fourth, in 1920s, a photo was clicked with 6 people against a Ford plane. What genre of photography got invented? Currently at an existential risk. Third, Japanese use tigers, UK uses dragons, Germany and Finland uses lions. What is the fierce moniker first used in Israel that is now popular in India for at least the last 2 odd years? Second is the symptom of scarlet fever. What do medical practitioners sometimes call this condition? Think of what it looks like. And question one, volunteers, you can start collecting the answer sheets. What is Rekha wearing here, which is named because of its peculiar vertical draping, very commonly worn in Hyderabadi Muslim weddings by the brides. Alright, time to hand the sheet in. We will go through the answers after this. During the prelims answers, we will do. Alright, folks, Prasad, will you ready to start? Yeah, awesome.